Hi everyone. So for this first project, we're going to prepare our paper. And what we need to do is we need to cut each sheet of paper that we're going to use in half. So I'll show you a couple different ways that we'll do this. But first, let's get our paper out. Now this paper is mulberry paper and it's pretty fragile. So you want to be careful not to accidentally crease it or crinkle it at all as best as you can. We're going to use at least 2 sheets of paper for the first project that we'll cut in half. So let me move one. When you're handling paper, always handle the paper with 2 hands and try as hard as you can not to let it get crinkled. It's very, very easy to let paper crease and crinkle when you hold it with 1 hand. So I always suggest holding it with 2 hands to keep it nice. So we're going to cut this in half on the long way, and what we'll do is this paper is about 12 inches long, so we're just going to take a pencil, something that we can erase our mark with, and we're just going to put a very light mark at the 6-inch spot, flip it over, do the exact same thing on the other side, put a little mark at that 6-inch spot. And then, depending on what you're cutting with, you don't even have to actually draw a line down the middle. I like to use X-Acto blades. I think that they're the most accurate. They give me a nice clean cut all the way through. So if you're cutting with an X-Acto blade, make sure you're using a metal ruler and hold the ruler down very, very tight. And it's better to do multiple light passes as opposed to like one putting all the pressure you possibly can down. So multiple light passes, keep the blade butted up against the ruler, and then just kind of slowly and carefully, lightly drag the blade all the way down. Now, if you're cutting something that's very, very long, you might have to adjust your hand. So if you were cutting something very long, I would say cut maybe halfway and then kind of scoot your hand down to keep pressure where the blade's at. But because our paper is pretty small, it's pretty easy to keep it straight. So I'm going to put the cap back on the blade. And then you can see I've got 2 very nicely cut, clean sheets of paper with very nice straight edges on it. Now, alternatively, if you don't have an X-Acto blade or maybe a box cutter or something like that, you can use scissors, but scissors tend to be less accurate and they take a little bit more practice and skill to get down. So if you're using scissors, again, we'll put a mark at that 6 inches and then we'll flip it around and put another mark at 6 inches. And this time I'm actually going to draw the line all the way across because we can't use a ruler with a pair of scissors. I'm putting almost no pressure down on the pencil because I want to be able to erase this line, especially if I make a mistake. And so I'm putting very, very little pressure and just kind of dragging the pencil across to put a pretty nice light line. Let me move that up so you can see it. You probably want it even lighter than that still, but that's pretty good. Okay, with scissors, you can kind of cut across. And the reason why these are less accurate is that they don't have that straight edge, that ruler, to keep a nice straight line. So it's pretty easy to accidentally start curving or veering off. And we want these to be nice, straight, and accurate. But you can do it with scissors if that's all that you have on hand. But you might notice it's probably hard to tell on the camera, but it's very much straighter with the X-Acto blade and just a little bit kind of crooked or curved with the scissors. So be careful with that. But I want you to cut down so you have at least 4 sheets of paper for this first project. If you run into trouble, you can use an extra sheet, so go up to 3 sheets, which would make 6 sheets of paper. But cut those down and that'll be ready for that first project.